And good evening once again, fans. You're listening to the Death Natural Podcast. They're more than welcome to come on too anytime they want to come on.
Oh man, those girls pop good like this.
Alright. It's a budget thing. Let's see what he's up to.
Thank you, man, and thank you for giving me the time.
Tune in right now. And good evening, everyone. You're listening to another episode of the Deathmatch Russell Podcast. My guest at this time, Bay Reagan, a.k.a. Chubby Dudley, an ECW original. We're going to talk to him and see what he's up to and much, much more, fans. Let's talk wrestling. Tune in right now. You're on the line. Bay, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me loud and clear? We're good.
Absolutely. All good.
So how you doing tonight? Pretty good?
Doing good, man. Doing really good.
Yeah. It's, what is tonight? Oh, shoot. It's AEW night. That's right. Ooh.
How about that?
No, wait, it's not. Wait, what's tonight? Wait, tonight's
Thursday.
Thursday, that's right. Nothing. Okay, never mind. Scratch. I'm a day behind. I'm a day behind on my calendar, whatever. But anyway, so what you been up to?
Yeah, having fun during these quarantine times.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing is by podcasting. Get all these podcasts out as I can because you know what? It's fun to hear what you guys have to going on, wrestlers and fans and everybody in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of done the same thing. I got my podcast restarted during this time and been pumping out some episodes. So yeah, and this is the time to do it. Everybody's home and go after that audience where everybody's stuck at home.
Absolutely. I mean, because we're all in the same boat, and we help support you guys. So you know what I mean. It's a way to give back, at least as a fan. Also,
sure.
And a hobbyist, a hobby. Well, our hobby for now, because we can't go to wrestling, but we can watch a lot of it though. Still, on TV,
absolutely,
on TV and whatnot. So anyway, boy, you dabble in a lot of things. I see collector stuff and this and that. You got a little bit of everything in your podcast.
Yeah, I've kept busy. We'll say I've always been into like so much stuff and tried to have so much stuff going on at once. So yeah,
That's so cool. When did you start your podcast?
It's coming up on 8 years.
Ooh.
We did about 8 years. We did a show called Totally Dream Radio, which we did close to. We were actually live every Thursday night for almost 8 years, and we did celebrity interviews, sports interviews, music interviews, mixed with me and my co-host Nick Wilkinson talking about things in our lives and things happening in the world and. Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun, and now we switched over. We're not doing actually live anymore. We're doing all pre-taped stuff. So we're having a ball now. We got a lot of friends.
Got to keep we keep our content going. It's great, and like I started way back when it was just like I was a horrible podcaster. The first episode you choke on.
Sure.
But now we're like kicking ass, and it's pretty fun. Which
That's
is
awesome. That's awesome.
It is. I mean, we go by numbers, ratings. So what? I don't care. But my friend has I'd like to get you in contact with him after the show. He's a real podcast enthusiast, big time. He dabbles in everything, you name it, from wrestling to sports and comics and just everything. So I think you guys would have and music also.
Cool.
So I'll let you have his name after this podcast. But yeah, so I linked up with him. So we brand. That's why you see Podcast City Network. We're just a team. Two guys.
Nice.
They're out of Florida. Two guys out of Florida, and they they have their show. The Everett Lee show and the Chris Carnage show and Final Scores and other stuff as well. We're all on this. There's tons of wrestling and other fun stuff as well. But and speaking of wrestling, so what made you get into the business?
Actually was a fan through the 80s. And the funny part was, so I wanted to be I played guitar, and I wanted to be, you know, in the 80s with the rise of hair bands and heavy metal music and all.
Right.
I wanted to be this big rock star guitarist in a band, and I was playing in band, stuff like that. But I was always a fat guy, and you never saw fat rock stars. So my backup plan was professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So late '89, early 1990, I decided it was time to go after the pro wrestling dream, and I sold my music equipment and got hooked up at the at Joe Goodhart's Tri-State Wrestling Alliance Wrestling School in September of 1990. I started my training.
Wow, and then you just became a manager, right? And then you just became...
yeah. You know, I did wrestling and worked the scene, and I was actually part of the early ECW Eastern Championship Wrestling. Yeah, and you know, we were cleared out. I'll say, you know, that when Eddie Gilbert came in and took over the booking, he cleared out a lot of the local Philadelphia talent, brought in a lot of his own boys, and you know, so then Paulie took over, and then you know, the Dudleys were born, and then I got the chance to go back and be a Dudley, and you know, I was just part of the sideshow, and I was very happy and honored to do that and be part of wrestling history,
and to be a part of you know, when Dick Dudley was around too, so which was really awesome, you know.
Absolutely. Alex was an amazing person, beautiful person.
Yeah.
He is very, yeah.
I mean, I used to go to local shows in Toms River, New Jersey, Phoenix Championship Wrestling they used to have, and he would be there. Okay. He'd be at shows there, and, you know, I was like, wow, it's great to see he's still, you know, he's still around. He was around.
That was Don Diesel, the Federation, correct?
Yes,
Phoenix?
Yes, it was.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
a good guy.
I always talk about that promotion. Like, man, it was like the '90s of wrestling Impact. You know, it really took like the indie stars and put them to where they are today. You know, and people don't really like know the history of that. You know, it's
actually, I saw he's going to be. He's starting to promote again with this whole quarantine Corona thing. You know, he had to cancel the show, but I'm glad to see he's making a thing and back and promoting again. He was an amazing promoter and booker.
He was, and his brother too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nova, the one and only Supernova, you know.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I knew them guys like from early on once I got involved in the business, because they were from Iron Mike Sharp's wrestling school in Bricktown, New Jersey.
Right.
And they used to do house shows out of the school.
Yeah.
Every other Saturday night, and
you know what? Guess what? I was there I would be there every Saturday night for their shows. I used to go there. I would go to those shows for $5.
Yeah. I was there. I worked a few of those shows. I was there.
You probably yelled at me. Probably heckled you. The hell. Who knows? Because
we worked there a couple times as the Hell Rodders.
Because I think X-Pac actually was starting his career as the Lightning Kid there. You know.
Yeah.
It's small world, isn't it? It's like in classy Freddie Blassie would walk in the door once in a while. You know, it was a small little building. You know, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Cool training facility. But then they had the original. But then I guess the original one was in Asbury, and that one burned down or something. You know.
Right.
Wow.
Crazy.
Isn't that kind of small world? Like, it's just, you just don't know who we see in the business, right? Like, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was like a fan of wrestling. I was like, okay, my neighbor, not my neighbor, my hair cutter, his dad used to do the hair cutting right next door there. It was the salon right there. Like,
right, no kidding.
Yeah. I was like, have you ever gone in there with see a show? No, I have never. But his dad used to pop in, you know.
That's cool.
It is, but you know, first time I dabbled with. I like telling my stories of how, you know, I didn't really get into ECW really, but I was 18 years old, and I worked at a dollar store, and this guy comes walking in the door, and somebody said, "Hey, he's a wrestler. It's ECW. It's Balls Mahoney." I did not know who. Isn't that wild? Like, I was like, hey, can I get your autograph? Okay, kid, hold on. You know? I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I got really hooked on him, and then after that, I started, watching a lot of his footage and became good friends with him and Chris Candido after that.
Yeah, both good guys. Again, guys that are really missed, man. Really missed. I had a lot of fun with, especially with balls. We had a lot of fun back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a character. He would just run around in all these local shows and just give it all his, show you what he had and then have fun too,
Yeah.
Even Chris, I still actually talk to Chris's brother Johnny. He's still around.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's younger. The younger one.
I actually booked the two of them to work each other on a show when I was promoting shows. They were like a main event for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. So, what else do I got for you? All right, I just like asking questions. See, I'm not looking at I'm just doing the random asking. I like to do that.
Nice. Good. Come on.
All right, shoot. Right. So what were What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts when you went? When you got signed to go into ECW? Like, what were you like? Oh, can I do this? I can do this full time. I could do this. I could be on TV.
When I went back as a Dudley?
Yeah.
It was I was actually kind of a little bitter at that time with ECW because I was there from the early days, and part of the initial process, and then when we were let go, I was really kind of pissed, and I saw how ECW was rising and the amazing product they were putting out. I was upset that I wasn't part of it, and then when the Dudleys came to be, Stevie Richards, who I was friends with and went to wrestling school with, he called me up and he said, look, we have this new thing, the Dudleys. He's like, and you would be perfect as a Dudley. Why don't you come back and let me introduce you to Paul and see if we can get something going. I said, all right, cool. So I actually, after a show one night, met Paul and with Stevie. We went up at the Philadelphia Marriott. And before Richards even said anything to Paul he came walking and saw me standing there with Stevie, and he said, oh my fucking God, another Dudley. And Richard said, see, I told you. And Paul was like, you have a tie-dye? I said, no. He said, buy a tie-dye and be at the show next weekend. I said, okay. And he said, what do you want your name to be? And I said, Studley Dudley. And he looked at me, he's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, no. He's like, how about Chubby Dudley? I'm like, okay. I said, how about I bring food out with me? He's like, perfect. Bring food, bring tie-dye, and come next weekend. And that's how it started.
Man. And then you got seen, and then all your friends seen you on TV, and your friends be like, hey, I'm going to come to the show. I saw you this week on a show, It was great, just to be seen.
Yeah.
You could tell everybody, you told everybody that, you know what I mean? I'm going to be on TV, watch this. I'm going to be, just for fun. It was like your spotlight,
It was totally different because you realize the importance of TV, like, from working indie shows with no real exposure, and then you're on TV every week, and
with the bright lights. I know.
And people knew my face, and I was in magazines and stuff, and like people, I would be at the mall or something, and people would stop me for autographs. It was really weird. It was something I always wanted, but it was just very weird to actually experience it.
But you did it, and you ran with them for a long time, and your time with them, and also and you had Spike Dudley, who was another character, good character too. He was always funny. Yeah. He always made the scene funny too, and he would always do a lot of indie shows, get his name out there, which was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what he's doing these days, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was actually like a school teacher when he first arrived in ECW.
Yeah. But he was very, very skinny guy and just would get tossed every week, But so how were those tables back in the day, huh? Or did you? I know.
The tables weren't too bad. It was the chairs that were really that left the mark.
Yeah, because they would always have like the riots too once in a while, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get pummeled with a chair," which was
good stuff, though.
Yeah. I've relived that kind of an error in Combat Zone Wrestling or in Game Changer Wrestling in the past. I've ducked from the chairs, you know? I've learned how to run when they pile a chair up now. It's insane, though. It's a real rush, you know? It's a rush.
It is.
But it's dangerous, though. You know, it's a dangerous rush because you don't know if you get whacked in the head with a chair or not, you know? I mean, all these chairs piling up in the ring. I mean, we've done the matches that were made famous in ECW, and
right.
Which really got the fans on their feet. You know, I mean, you look at what Taz, Taz. You had Rob Van Dam. You know, Sabu. You know, Sabu still kicking it. You know, he's still around, man. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It really is. That's a guy who really put a beating on his body, and
yeah.
You know, I was there and saw him many times. You know, he'd be cut up, and he would just like crazy glue his body back together.
I know. It's like every time I saw him on a show, I'm like, holy cow, you're still doing this. But he kept on going. He just keeps on going. It's amazing. I'm surprised there's no documentary on him on those documentaries they're doing now, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
On the dark side. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you get to see the New Jack one?
I saw the New Jack one. I did. I actually learned a few things about New Jack I did not know.
Really? Yeah, there was some stuff I never knew either. Like, as a fan, you know? Just like you would just not know about him. I never knew about that.
Yeah.
I never really knew about that young kid getting into the business. You know, just get in there. You know, that kid.
With the mass transit thing?
No. Was it the Eric? That kid Eric. He was like 17 years old.
Yeah. Mass transit. The kid that New Jack liked his head open. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, but hey, you know what? That happens on the scene, you know, and people don't realize that goes down, you know, on the independent circuits, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way too much.
But they did not. Did you notice they did not talk about Paul Heyman? Really, they did not bring Paul Heyman into anything of it, which was really weird. Like, they didn't even mention his name at all, you know. Somebody caught that. Yeah, somebody caught that. I was like, oh, that's interesting because, you know, he's a big factor for, you know. But then the Vic Grimm things, man, boy, that I remember, you know. That I remember watching the first the first DVD when that came out, you know, when they were both going up top there. That was insane, you know.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't never saw that. That was the first time I saw it.
Yeah. And then you look back and it's like, wow. Could you imagine if Terry Funk did something like that? Oh, God.
Oh.
Forget it, you know? Yeah. Or Cactus Jack.
Yeah,
or
that would not be good.
Or Mick Foley, you know? But Mick Foley's done more worse than that, you know?
Yeah, you'd expect it from Mick.
Mm-hmm. There's another guy who's always been a good guy on the scene. You could always talk to him behind the scenes and really, you know, talk to him. He's a real down to earth person.
Yeah, he's always been like very nice guy, very approachable, very you know, willing to talk and help, you know, especially the young guys and stuff like that. And, yeah, he was always a class act, and I mean, I remember him from you know, my early days in the business in '90 when I first got into wrestling school. He was working for Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, pretty steady at that point. So I back then.
That's cool. I remember when he first came to Tom's River, New Jersey. I saw him in my first hardcore match. He was facing Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, down a staircase, they used a trash can.
Yep. Those were some amazing matches between those two. There
were. And then, like, I looked online, you can't even find any of this stuff. Like, it's hard, you know?
No.
You gotta...
No, I know.
It's a shame. Like, we can't find the stuff that we wanted to see, you know?
Yeah.
But there's ways around it. I'm sure I can find it still, you know? I'm still searching the internet, you know? DVD sites.
Somebody had taped them somewhere. They just didn't put it on YouTube.
No, they didn't. I mean, they put a lot of the NWF stuff back in the day, you know. That was
Right.
that was a promotion that was around. I got lucky enough to see that promotion when it came around because Bruiser Brody was there inside a cage,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at a young age, which was really neat, you know. I always like to tell that story. Me and my dad, you know, would go to the local hockey rink, and there's wrestling every weekend, you know. Wrestling,
That's cool.
It was. But I'll tell you what, it was fun going to Wrestle Reunion 2 convention. It was in Pennsylvania. Me and my dad went one year, and you know, Bill Apter was there, and you know, a lot of wrestlers. And Foley was there, so I jumped up on the microphone for the first time. Never did one of those Q&A things. So I was like, "Hey Mick, what was it like falling off the cage?" He was scared shitless, you know. He was scared.
Of course.
You know, I was like, all right, I have to think of something to ask because I didn't really, you know, I dabbled, but I did watch a lot of that stuff before, you know, studied up on it. I was like, all right, I better ask him this. But then, then we meet him at McDonald's. He's like, hey, that was a great question you asked me, kid. Thanks, you know. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, to see him, and then actually it was pretty neat because you had a whole bunch of had different stories from like everybody, and even though he was hated, Jim Cornette was there. I was standing next to Jim Cornette, and Dusty Rhodes was right there. And you know what? He was telling the story, and I asked, "Hey, how was that bump off the scaffold?" Well, I almost shit myself. Of course, he almost did, Jim Cornette. Yeah. But to hear Dusty laugh was good. You know what I mean? To hear Dusty to be like laughing in public, because you don't see that much of him doing that.
Yeah.
But now his legacy of his sons are still going, which is good. They're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is. I mean, you think about it. Cody Rhodes. Yeah, it was. Dustin and Rhodes, or Gold Dust, two characters from WWE, and now look where they are, together again, in AEW.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't think Cody would be that big of a star, but he really he's proven himself.
He has. I mean, I bet you that all that money is all from his father that made him want to build that company. Probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it shows he learned a lot from being around, his father growing up in the business, where he, running his own company now. So
sure, given it's a great product. What do you think of it? You like it?
Honestly, I really haven't seen it. I have not watched. Yeah, I really haven't watched much of it. I've seen a couple things online, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, now they brought in, actually, Jake the Snake Roberts is part of their show now, which is really cool.
Yeah, I heard. The clip of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to see him get to be a part of it, because he can talk he could talk for days and days about, stories and tell, he really can cut a promo, to the audience to get a new, a newer audience, to get their teeth synced in to something new. But so anyway, back to the music aspect of you. So you were in a band, and so you decided to just have fun, huh?
Yeah, man. Decided to do the change and join the crazy world of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Mix it up. It's like the guy actually we've had on the podcast. We've had the originator of all the themes of the WWF, JJ Maguire. Yes, the original TNT Thunder in Paradise theme.
Okay, yeah.
He did all the Demolition. He did everybody's. It was amazing. It was really cool. We've talk to him a lot. It's really cool stories about how him and Jimmy got together and became their band way back in the day. What is going on here? Everything's blowing up on Twitter now. But it was pretty neat to hear his side of the stories of wrestling back in the, when he would first produced music.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's got a lot of cool stories.
He does. He really does. And what am I going to say? I was looking forward to going to a. My friends did a reunion, like an anniversary show in Florida at a bar, and he showed up to the bar and had fun with them, jammed out on the piano. It was great.
Oh, cool.
And I presented him. Well, actually, he helped present an award for me, because I think it was like something was going on with the airlines or something at the time. So I was like, oh, here you go. I'll give you guys a plaque and enjoy this, courtesy of Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast. Because I couldn't be there in person, Shipped them that night out before, 2 plaques, which was really cool. But yeah, they had a fun time. I'm like, I gotta go back there eventually, I will. So what's I've seen you've met every kind of celebrity. I've been thumbing through your pictures. You have tons and tons of. You've met a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You've met a lot over the years.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. What made you? Well, because you said you dabbled with talking celebrity, talking a lot, right? Also.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. Getting to meet a lot of people I've interviewed, and I've just always been, since a little kid, a huge fan of the world of entertainment, whether it was music, TV, movies, sports.
Mm. Who's your who are your favorite horror stars growing up? Like,
I was never really a big horror fan.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I went to a convention and I got to meet Gunnar Harrison before he died. The Texas Chainsaw, which was really an honor to meet, the original Leatherface.
Right.
But I did get to meet Beetlejuice, the gay designer guy. Nothing wrong with that. That was cool, though. You know what I mean? Just to say I met a character that was related to the movie,
No kidding.
Yeah. And I was so mad. Guess who was right behind me? And I did not even snap a picture with him. I was so mad. It was the voice of Chucky, the guy who did the original voice. Was right behind me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was right behind me doing the voice to my friend, and I'm like, damn, how come I didn't get a video of that? I'm like, shoot, or a picture with him,
Which convention was that?
It was Chillerfest.
Okay, yeah, I used to go to those.
Those are fun. Yeah.
And
I regret one year I went, and that was the year also. I think it was Roddy Piper was doing the They Live movie, And
oh yeah.
And there was a huge line, so I said, I'm not gonna bother, I wanted to meet Piper so bad, I'm like, I'm not gonna wait.
Yeah, I met him real quick at a wrestling convention once. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who else did I meet? I met the Seinfelds. I met Jerry's parents. That was pretty fun. I met those guys. I met Linda Harrison, the original Planet of the Apes.
Really?
Yes.
I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan.
Yeah. So that was like cool to get to meet somebody like from origin, growing up watching that stuff. It was like, wow, to meeting her. Who else did I meet? I met there's like a list of people you could like meet, like those shows you could meet everybody, I met the cop that played the cop that was on Nightmare on Elm Street. I met the guy who played the main character there, which was really cool for Robert Englund, That's really... Oh, and I met Kane Hodder. That was really cool.
Okay, yeah.
You know, the real Jason Voorhees, the original.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But yeah, but so many other guys I would have wanted to meet, but you know, too much money. You had a day like that. Those were expensive.
You're expensive.
They really are. It's like going to a wrestling convention. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
You have all these kids wanting to buy every single collectible. You know, you're an adult. Want to buy these belts? No, I'm not. I'm not going to buy these belts. I don't want to buy those belts. You know, it's ridiculous. Who wants to walk around with a belt all day long, right? Just to be cool.
People do it.
They do. They do. But what else do I got for you? I don't know. You got anything for me? I like asking. If you want to ask away, ask too. I feel like this is both of us.
You're the interviewer. You got the questions. Come on.
I know. Faster, right? Fast, chop, 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 right? Chop, chop, chop. Let's see here. If you had a choice to manage back in the day, who would it be?
I don't know. I've never thought of that because I never really wanted to be a manager in the first place.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Demolition. Gosh.
You know, it was something I just got put into.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Well, okay. So that was my one question. What do you think? I was impressed when the Dudleys, got themselves their own school. That was really very. I was proud that they were able to have their own school. Devon Dudley.
Yeah, I mean, there's two of the legendary guys, Hall of Fame guys.
Yes.
Greatest tag team of all time. And I mean, it'd be an honor for students to learn from them guys.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own wrestling school back in 95, 96.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, somebody, do you remember Nate Hatred?
Yes.
From the comedy unit? No, he was one of my students. And Thomas Rodman, who was part of the BWO at one point, he was one of my students.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Yeah, Nate Hatred, you could talk stories about him for decades,
Yeah.
Miss him. Miss that guy. Yeah. Tragic he went so soon,
Yeah, shame.
Mm-hmm. They all do, man. It's like we do. Look in the news today. Look who we lost today. Howard Finkel.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, There's a guy who's been in the business for so long, and just the way that he presented himself every time, I mean, he was a professional, man. Like, he had those promos would be down packed behind a curtain, get in the middle of Madison Square Garden doing announcements, and WrestleManias,
He was the man.
He was.
He was the. Yeah.
He was the man behind him. Yeah, man behind the mic like Mean Gene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Two great guys there. Besides Lord Alfred Hayes, right? Also, can't even think about it. Oh, wow, boy, look at me pulling out these names. Lord Alfred Hayes. There's an oldie, huh?
All right.
Lord Alfred Hayes to Jesse Labonte Ventura. Yeah. Gorilla Monsoon, which was legends. And I was at WrestleMania 5, and I tell the story to every single person on my podcast. Every time I have to tell it. Me and my dad were at WrestleMania 5, and we were up in the nosebleeds, and 5 rows away, there's Jesse the Body and Gorilla Monsoon doing the commentary.
Wow.
And hearing the thump of the mic, the ring down below was really awesome. And holding up the old Mega Powers sign, getting all pumped up, for the main event. Oh man, time flies, It really does.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
And then I remember I did do an ECW. It I went to One Night Stand Part 2 in New York City. That was pretty fun.
Oh, cool.
I got to sit right behind, of course. I had like 6th row, and there's Joey Styles doing the commentary, getting slapped by Jerry Lawler, you know?
Classic.
Huh? Yeah. But I'll never forget. Like I started a chant for the Super Crazy and what is it? Super Crazy. It was Super Crazy and Tajiri versus FBI, and I started a chant with the Nacho Libre to get it, just to get the crowd going, because they didn't know what that was, because that movie was just popular, with Jack Black,
Yeah, it's funny.
It is funny, and then the funny thing is because one of the wrestlers, the Human Tornado, he's called, actually used to wrestle all over Jersey all the time. We would bring him in, which was awesome. Oh, there's another promotion, Jersey All Pro Wrestling, man.
Yeah.
They always brought the legends too,
Yeah, they had a lot of great shows.
I mean, they used to small little bingo hole, So it sounds like ECW almost. It really was almost the reverse of ECW.
Yeah.
Almost the reverse of ECW. I never got a chance to go to one of those shows in ECW. I wish I did as a kid. I wish I was in that era of it. To feel it in Asbury Park too. Which was the two main spots.
Right.
The convention center. And I always tell my friends, and they don't know it. I always tell, they're bound. Yeah, Bully Ray is Bully Ray is a bouncer at a bar. No shit, really? Yeah, my friend saw him at a bar and he got thrown out by him. I was like, yeah, that must have been fun. Too bad I wasn't there. I would have slammed him. No. I would have had a scuffle. No. But that's cool. Stories like that are always good to tell. Like how they, were cool and they would be bouncers. But hey, a lot of those guys were, Some of those people don't know. It's like before wrestling, they always become a bouncer or something. Look at the security guards. Like, that one guy's always famous there, He's always broad shoulders. Talk about the big. He's always in the scenes,
Yeah, if I saw him, I know he is.
Mm-hmm. But, wow. Anyway, let's call it a night.
Yeah.
Let's call it a night.
Man, well, it's been almost fun. Thanks for having me.
Hey, let's do this again, and I'll have my video fixed. How's that?
Sounds good.
I appreciate you coming on, and we'll do this again.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and if you feel like plugging anything, go right ahead.
Cool. Well, everybody can check me out. Totally Driven Entertainment. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for Totally Driven Entertainment or Totally Driven Radio. And you can hear our show. We're on Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, Google Podcast, Podchaser. We're everywhere basically podcasts are heard. Just look for Totally Driven Radio, The Basic Show, or The Rock and Ragni Show.
Very cool. That sounds awesome. I'm going to have to check that out after I get off of here.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Hey, thank you for being on, and have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye. Fans, that was really cool to hear from an original of ECW. Member of the Dudley Boys, Chubby Dudley. You know what? He had fun with them. And, the run that they had in ECW was unstoppable, from the Dudley Boys and how they made their names and talking about guys like Big Dick Dudley and just people, really stood out in ECW that really made names for themselves. In Spike Dudley, of course, and other guys as well, but we never did. Ooh. I didn't talk about Sign Guy, but you know what? Stay tuned, fans. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. We'll talk about the Sign Guy from the Dudleys as well. Fans, I want to say stay tuned Saturday night, I'm going to be back again live on Facebook. Again, I'm going to try it again. I've been having some technical difficulties, but stay tuned because you know why? Because the Deathmatch Russell presents The King is Here. I will be interviewing Benjamin King, the CEO of Division LLC. This Saturday night at 8 p.m. Fans, stay tuned for that and enjoy your night. Have a good night, everyone. Stay tuned for more podcasts to come. Good night, everyone.
Hey, wrestling fans, I want to mention Collar and Elbow. Collar and Elbow was founded on traditional values of professional wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product intended to connect with people on an emotional level. A symbiotic relationship where one cannot flourish without the other. We strive to create a product that embodies our passion for professional wrestling expressed through street fashion. Visit collarandelbowbrand.com and use the promo code DeathmatchRussellPodcast and save 10% off when you make a purchase. Collar and Elbow, where wrestling passion meets street fashion. You can find more Deathmatch Russell podcasts on the following social media. DeathmatchRussell.com. Follow on Twitter at DavidNJ32 and on Facebook. Facebook.com/DJDaveNJ32. Find me on Podcast City Network at PodcastCity.net. Facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit the like button and share. And on Twitter at PodcastCityNet. You can hear Deathmatch Russell podcast on Stitcher Radio and on iTunes.